So now that we have our loom set up at home, I'm going to show you how to start weaving the simple weave. Now this loom is meant for brocade, and if you'd like to learn brocade, I suggest signing up for a class with Doña Lidia. I'm just going to teach you the simple steps. So first, we see here that it can be confusing that there are many rods. On the simpler loom, you don't have some of these rods, but today we're going to just disregard the top one, which is the control. We don't need to use this unless we break something on the loom, and then this serves to help us fix it. And then we have the two pepenado sticks. These are used for brocade specifically. So since we're not going to do brocade today, we're also going to lift these two up so we don't get confused. For the simple weave, we're just going to focus on this big one here, which is the shed rod. And this one here with all the string, this is the string heddle. These two will help us open the warp. The warp is the vertical thread or yarn. These two will help us open the warp and insert the weft, which is the horizontal thread that goes from right to left and left to right. And this is how the weaving will be created. We will also be using the sword, which comes out like this. So first we're going to check on the textile here which side the string is, and we see that it's on the right side. So from right to left, we're going to check here what change we need to use. Okay, it looks like it just went from left to right with the shed. So now we're going to use the other one, which is the string heddle. If we try to open the string heddle here by lifting it, it will be very challenging, as you see here, because the shed rod is so close. We need to give it some space by lifting it higher up. Now we're going to move our body forward, use the sword to massage the warp, and then there is a clearer opening here, and you can look through the side and see if that looks good. It looks good. Sometimes you will have threads that come in the way, and this is totally normal, so you just want to look through the side and check to make sure that it's clean. Here, with your sword lifted like this, we're going to insert the weft through from right to left, and at the end, make sure that we're not pulling too hard, because if we pull it, the textile will get narrower and narrower and narrower. And with the sharper side of the sword close to our body, we beat it 2-3 times, and this is good. We take the sword out, and from left to right, we're going to use the other change, which is the shed rod. For this, we just put the two tools together, move it a little bit. This is the easier change. We can see here that there's a natural opening that starts. This is where we will insert the sword, but be careful, make sure it's clean. Let's check, that looks good. And when we lift the sword, we'll see that the warp is making an X. The warp threads are alternating. This is what makes a weaving. Every time we change between the shed and the heddle, we will have an X, and now the weft here is no longer loose. It's woven in. And if we put this again, the weft through again from left to right, being careful not to pull too hard, and beat it again with the sword, we've made one row of weft. And as we continue with the same steps over and over and over, we will be weaving the panel. Make sure it's clean. So there's again an X created in the warp. The weft goes through, making sure the yarn doesn't get tangled up. Don't pull too hard. The shed opening. That looks good. You'll be able to see here if you have any mistakes. And I have a mistake right here. Aha! I did not do a good job inserting the sword. That looks good. Insert the weft. And as we go left to right and right to left, and repeat, 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 we will be weaving closest from our body to the top of the loom. And as we weave, we can roll the rod closest to us so that the textile is always closest to our body. But we don't need to do this right now. What we do need to do, I've woven about an inch perhaps. We need to move this cane that is under the loom so that the width stays the same. This is kind of a tricky movement, and if you don't want to use this, it's perfectly fine, but it is helpful to keep the width constant. You're going to put the nail in the textile as it was, just shift it about an inch higher, and as you keep moving the rod. And there is a little hole from the nail, but this will naturally fill. It's not a big deal. It's not a structural hole. It's just because the threads have shifted to go around it. And repeat, repeat, repeat. These are the simple steps to the simple weave.